Hello everybody, and welcome to an exciting MSEM matchup here. We are in the semifinals of GP Dambulla, and unfortunately, I switched distributions again. I was on Linux Mint, but wasn't good enough for gaming, so on Catchy, so I had to set up OBS. So we're a little late, but we're here with plenty of time to watch Toasty take on datrobino. It's my first time being able to catch the Bogles deck in action. This deck has been running through this GP so far essentially uncontested. datrobino picked up the buy in round 1 as the second highest seed, and right now, early on in this game, we've got a 1/1 human with a hexproof counter with infiltrate and does get card draw. We've got grinding for experience, and we've got Master the Old Ways, which gives it trample and +2/+0. And still in hand, we got a Starlight Veil and an Arrive surrounded by petals. So, scorching hot, but Toasty's also off to a good start. Burning Heals, studies in scientific theory, just an anti-magic formula, which, there you go, just showed up. Which, unfortunately, Burning Heals is only until end of turn. It doesn't stay till like the start of your next turn. And Toasty is staring down a hand with 7 lands in total. The studies couldn't save them. The Burning Heals hit something useless. They are in Eureka mode now, so the research counters should start sacking, and they also have a Bottled Lightning, which they're going to have to use here. datrobino has gotten pretty hurt. Needed the Sturdy Outpost to come in untapped. Needed the Nebula to tap for 3 colors, which is really odd because everything is just green pretty much in their hand. I don't know if I would agree with the blue, white, green when you have a Sturdy Outpost, but whatever. So Bottled Lightning will hit face. We'll see the Scry. Research counter is at 4, so Toasty's not far. We're going to see the Starlight Veil, which might be lethal here. I think that might be lethal. So we'll see. So they're going to tap the Outpost, do the math here. You also have Arrive surrounded by petals, which gives presumably the Scout roll. I don't know if I don't know what the power toughness is. So they're just going to go Warrior roll. That gives another instance of trample. Makes it a 6. Oh, makes it a 6/3 now? It sure does. Makes it a 6/3. And then infiltrate is if it's not blocked. And with that, Toasty has to scoop it up, which means we're going to jump right in. Sorry if you see OBS. I couldn't get window capture to work just yet. So into the sideboard here, datrobino. Probably not too worried. Stubborn Denial ain't bad here, but Tile Spite doesn't do a lot. Key is what's in Toasty's sideboard first and foremost. As for answers here, Nyx Fall as a broad scale wipe is probably the best you can do. Don't think there's much else. Moonlight Sanctum gains you life, but I don't know if the life gain is good enough here. But it might be good enough. This deck can put together some pretty good boards. An Embodied Soul would be really bad. But like Dawnwisp Vents is useless, so probably take the Dawnwisp Vents out and probably take out the Walking with Ancestors, put in the Nyx Falls, and hope that's a good enough removal package. I think that's about your best bet. And then for datrobino, because you know your opponent's going to be on Nyx Fall, you probably want Stubborn Denial as a way to counter it if your opponent tries to cast it. I don't know what you bring in, but we will see, because going in here, datrobino has a this is a pretty solid hand, but no way to cast the Shed the Corporeal Form. Very borderline, and datrobino's on the draw as well. You have the Arrive surrounded by petals is the argument. Lets you audition for green, which will just make a 1/1, and then you have your mana, but you are slow off the start because you have to wait to shed. datrobino's on the line. Toasty's got a hand with the Nyx Fall in it, and also we see studies scientific theory, distant path. So quick, easy, perfect mana. What's the keep here? What is the keep? And this is an important one now. datrobino, I would keep this personally, if only because I think it's a good hand. I don't know how likely the good hands are with their deck, but when you look at the other options, you've got Chords of Order, decides to put it away, and it's a pretty good one in exchange. We're going to put away the Tranquil Aesthetic. You also have a Keelan Wanderer, and Aesthetic is an 0/2 to a 1/1. But datrobino on the draw, and does have the Stubborn Denial. They know about the Nyx Falls in the board. It's open deck list, so they're ready for it. And studies in scientific theory, I should say, comes down. Toasty sees another Eloy study, puts it on the bottom. datrobino gets an Arrive, leads with the Nebula. You have to lead with the Nebula in order to get down Keelan Wanderer. And the question is, when do you Nyx Fall? You have the Bastion, so Nyx falls at 4. So I presumably ASAP, because similarly, just as much as datrobino knows about the Nyx fall, Toasty knows about the Stubborn Denial, and you need a Nyx fall before your opponent, either while your opponent's tapped out or before it gets to 4 power. But Toasty's not really on any creatures to like block with even then. So we can see the options. So Trace the Oasis. I presume the play is Trace the Oasis and Chords of Order. Maybe Arrive. Are you on Arrive here to make sure you have all your colors of mana? There's an option. Doesn't have mana for Turin Study. Toasty plays out the Opulent Palace and passes with nothing. A Sturdy Outpost in hand for datrobino. I think that's a play, right? Trace and then play Chords, and then so long as your opponent doesn't untap with Nyx Fall, which is not a way for them to, you can get another land drop, and then you have you're safe. That is what datrobino is gonna do. Trace the Oasis onto the Keelan Wanderer. We'll play the Sturdy Outpost, which will give the Keelan Wanderer a counter. Now a 2/2. The Bogling has started. Now the other option is to play Arrive right now, and then you definitely have 4 power no matter what, and you do have a Wooburg option. That does put more damage on the board ASAP, and Chords isn't so good when your opponent doesn't really have any creatures. Big benefit of it in this board would be clearing the way by tapping your opponent's stuff down. Chords, when it attacks, lets you tap a creature with no counters and untap it, but your opponent's not putting pressure on the attack, so the Vigilance isn't so impactful. Your opponent doesn't have any creatures, so that isn't so impactful. So Studies will fully tap out for Eloy's Study. Pretty good card. Lots of options here. So, I mean, second Nyx Fall, you know about the Stubborn Denial. And datrobino here in a little bit of a tough spot. Distant Path in hand, Stubborn Denial. Only other option is Chords. Eloy's hits land, Embodied Soul, hits a Bottled Lightning, and then card number 5 is going to be the Prodigious Panya. So a creature somewhere out there. But that's all that Toasty can do on this turn with the Study. 2 lands on top is pretty rough. Lots of good cards on there. Embodied Soul. That Embodied Soul is honestly a little underrated, I think. The lifelink just does so much. And then now at 3 research counters. Doesn't hit what they want. Will play the Distant Path tapped, which you need to make sure you're playing your lands in order to keep the counters up. I don't know what you do here. So your 2 options are to, I think, you have to play Chords because your opponent is now on Nyx Fall. So you have to be able to eat that with your Stubborn Denial. That's just good gameplay. So swings in with the Keelan Wanderer, untaps it with the Chords ability. So really, I mean, the question is, so Toasty's on 4 Nyx Falls. 4 Nyx Falls on the board. So the question is, what orders are things going to happen here? It's going to come down to what datrobino draws. You have the mana now to discard the Sodden Path and still have mana for something, and you are actively holding up the Stubborn Denial. Toasty chooses to draw the Radiant Palace, probably trying to dig to those spells. Very good cards down there. He'll play the Radiant Palace, and now for all of their mana, you have to Nyx Fall, I think. You can't play either your other enchantments first. They are going to Nyx Fall. So, Nyx Fall, gonna get hit by the Stubborn Denial here, unsurprisingly. And that's it. Let's see the draw. datrobino hits second Stubborn Denial, doesn't use the cycling. But I guess with the second Stubborn Denial, you know that you can untap here. Your opponent didn't play anything. They didn't have like a Dawn Wisp Vents, which they wouldn't be on Dawn Wisp Vents here anyway. Toasty's down to 1 and has to evaluate their options. So opponent has 1 card in hand. You got to play it out here because you could always hit a Nyx Fall off the top here. Doesn't matter. We know datrobino's hand. Draws the Radiant Palace, has to go for it. I don't know what you can, I mean, you do have the enchantments. You play Eloy's Study, you can hit a Nyx Fall off the top. I think you have to play Eloy's Study, hit the Nyx Fall off the top. You can cast it for free. That's the best play. That's the best play available to you. So I was probably thinking either Turin's, but Turin's Study isn't going to do enough. Second Eloy's Study, let's see it. There's only 1 card that saves them. Don't think it's Embodied Soul. Toasty will pick it up, and just as quickly as it started, it ends, and datrobino is going to be taking their spot in the finals on a truly monstrous run. Datrobino has beaten Burn, beat Ricky, has only dropped 2 games this entire tournament as we head into the finals. So for the folks at home, this has been a crazy GP. I mean, this is the 2015. This is the Royals coming out and surprising everyone in the World Series. You know, this is 2005 White Sox. This is just jump scare of a lifetime here. It's gotta feel great. I mean, I wouldn't know. I've never been to a finals before, but make sure to stay tuned because we've got Cyber, who is the other player that earned a bye, facing off against Crabs, who's taken Ricky's Gerald Jundek all the way to the semis. We're gonna see who comes out of this one on top. Cyber, I do not believe they did already play. This was a matchup that we saw in the first round, and Cyber went and beat Crabs 2-0. So we'll see though, because Crabs has had to win a lot of games since then after getting the bye in round 2. Beat Crush, beat a Little Blank, and beat Epid in the quarters to get here. So even though Cyber should be favored if you look at the previous matchup history, it's not at all over yet. So make sure to stay tuned. I've been Asty, and thank you for joining me for an awesome MSEM commentary.